Hi everyone and welcome to CIB Cribs. I think about 6 months ago I made a video teasing my collection and the video I was going to make about it, so finally I have the collection room done exactly how I want it. So before I go and show you, I want to make this a competition for everyone. There's no real time limit on it, but I want you guys to do a video response to this video. Showing us your game collection, how you have it set up, your TVs, all the cool stuff, your game rooms pretty much. Just compare it to each other, just show other gamers and collectors how we do it. So this is my man cave, and leading to the man cave, of course, you have to have awesome, the best Atlanta Braves leading you along, better than the Phillies and the Mets and all those other teams. Every single game room should come complete with a few wall scrolls, which are much better than normal posters. They're just awesome. Resident Evil 4 and Castlevania, some of my favorite games. We end. So there's a lot to take in at first, and I'll lead you on a quick tour of everything. Room is about, 12 by 12, 15 by 15, something like that, jam-packed full of games. The first thing you'll notice is we have two TVs. We have the flat screen hooked up to the PS3, so you can play all your, PS3 360 HD kind of games. And then underneath we have the tube TV for all the older stuff, because a lot of the older stuff really does look better on tube TVs. It really does. It just makes it look all bad for Nintendo games on the big ones. So how I have all the different systems set up, I actually think this is the best part of the room because I actually had to come up with this on the fly. You have the current system that's hooked up to the tube TV up here, which is one of the Retron 3s. So anytime that you think when I tell you in store that Retrons are good and I have one at home, I am actually serious. I do have one of them at home. Then underneath, you have all the different systems that you can switch to. So if I want to switch Retron out for GameCube, I can pull it out. Working Jaguar with Jaguar CD, that thing's pretty rare and hard to find. Top loader, Sega Master System, Genesis 3. Down here I have a couple more, Sega Saturn, Super Famicom, Dreamcast, and PS2. There's a couple more I have in storage if I need to bring out. So you switch them out as you need to go. You can hook you can even hook the older ones up to the big TV if you want to. Then if you look in here, I also really like how I did this. You have wicker baskets full of all the different cords, AV cords and power cords there. So if you want to hook up a PS3 and you need an AV cord, you go through there. Then you have the controllers right there. If for some reason I want to play Jaguar, I can have my Jaguar thing, or Pokemon controller, Dreamcast, whatever you may need is in there. So that's how I have that stuff set up. I'm actually really happy with how that turned out. So I'm going to show you around the different games, just show you a couple cool ones, how I have everything set up. Obviously, we don't have a whole ton of room in this room, but I like how it all ended up with making use of it. Over here is my favorite part. I will start there. You have the Game Boy kind of stuff over here. This is the Game Boy corner. Here we pretty much have all the different systems. You have all the boxed original Game Boys, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Pocket, Advance SPs, the new 3DSs, just simple things like that. Boxed Gamecom, failed system, Lynx failed system as well, and the biggest failed system of all of them, the Swedish Mafia-inspired Gizmondo. All the different boxed Game Boy games, which is really all I collect anymore. I don't collect... I put most of the stuff we get in straight back into the store, so I don't put too much. I don't take too much home. But once in a while, I'll take the box Game Boy stuff. You got the good stuff like Link's Awakening, Golden Sun, all the different Pokemons. I have at least multiple copies of all the Pokemons in case I ever really need to sell them for some particular reason. Some of this stuff is really cool. Recently got some nice boxed Virtual Boy stuff. That's always really neat. You got some really random systems like Gamecom, boxed games there, and Trevor's getting a text. So good stuff like that. And kind of the pride of everything that I have would be the Gizmondo games. I got really lucky with this maybe 3-4 years back. They're the European versions of the Gizmondo games, super ultra rare. I do have every PAL version of the game completely sealed still, as is the system. So that was a really, really cool thing. and I really, really like collecting handhelds. There's also Atari Lynx stuff too, as well. And then if you're looking for the nut box stuff, I took one of these kind of makeup drawers and just kind of put the stuff in there. You got Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, original Game Boy, black Game Boy Color. Good stuff there. Of course, you have the best wall scroll of all time. How can you go wrong with the biggest Sonic thing ever? This original Final Fantasy VII poster from '97 has seen its better days, but I've had it since '97. Resident Evil 2, just got that one recently. And then when you have the console stuff, we start here. It's chronological order. You start with, I don't collect too much Atari stuff, but some of my better Atari stuff I have here, like Music Machine with the vinyl, Tooth Protectors, the game made by Johnson & Johnson where you have to fight cavities, Lockjaw, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween, the Intellivision Stadium Mud Buggies, Chase the Chuck Wagon, good stuff. I don't play Atari too much, but I really like collecting those. You have, these are all from my childhood as well, the Choose Your Own Adventure Nintendo books, where, you know, turn to page 103. Oh, you died. Oh, I gotta go back. So I have that and all the old school, like, how to win at Nintendo games, all the different strategy guides and all that. After that, we start with Nintendo. I have not done a full count of it. If I ever do a full count of them, I'll put them, the amounts in the video description to let you guys know, like, oh, I have 400 NES games, whatever. I really, honestly don't know, but fair share of them. You got boxed ones up here. I don't really focus too much on boxed. I'm not a huge NES collector. You got some pretty good stuff here. I don't have them alphabetized yet, so it is kind of hard to find it, but I do have stuff like Panic Restaurant. This one right here, that's a pretty hard game to find by Taito. Got all the Mega Mans. I'm actually going to be playing a Mega Man game later. I don't even know where those are right now. But just weird stuff. Blues Brothers is kind of hard to find. Really strange game. All the different Color Dreams kind of stuff. Just weird stuff. Pet Terminator I've personally never seen before. All 6 Mega Mans, I had those as a child. That was really cool. Just got this recently, the Squaresoft 1997 collector's video with some... It's a VHS with all the Final Fantasy VII previews and stuff. Up here you got Wand of Gamelon and Link to the Faces of Evil. I do not have Zelda's Adventure, the third one yet, but I am actively looking for it. So, NES, you got these 4 shelves here, 5th one here. Then we start on something that I actually focus on collecting a lot, Super Nintendo. I really like Super Nintendo. I prefer it to NES. I don't know if it's because I was born in 1988 and Nintendo was already on the way out when I was growing up, but I really like Super Nintendo. Got stuff like a boxed, really nice version of Mega Man X. You got good stuff like Lufia 2 box, Congo's Caper box. I really like collecting Super Nintendo stuff. I also have a lot of these interesting versions. They're not for resale demo versions because they were used originally in demo stores, like, I don't know, in Toys R Us or whatever, where they would actually have this actual cartridge, which is why they have this interesting chain on it so the kids couldn't just steal it and go away. It's impossible to put a price on something like this because it's so random and rare. But there's good stuff like, I have Chrono Trigger somewhere in here, I have Mega Man X2, all the Final Fantasies, everyone's favorite Earthbound, just recently got Mega Man 7, which is an okay game, but I focus a lot on that. Pocky and Rocky 2, I actually bought this game brand new back in the day, Harvest Moon, for the 50 or 40 or whatever it was back in the day, and of course it's gone way up in price since then. I had no idea back in the day, I just wanted to play Harvest Moon. But got that. Super Nintendo, to a less collected but just as fun system, Genesis. Some of my favorites, Wonder Boy and Monster World. I absolutely love this game. Look it up sometime, it's a great side-scroller. You got the good stuff like Ghostbusters. I really like this game, Gadget Twins, Captain America. I also have a very strange one, Mega Man The Wily Wars. It's definitely a reproduction because this game was only released in Europe, and this is an NTSC version. It's not a PAL game, but it's very interesting. I'm gonna play that one of these days. Then you got good stuff like Zombies Ate My Neighbors, Castlevania Bloodlines, stuff like that. We have next For some reason, I have a ton of this, and I don't know why. Atari Jaguar games. I have pretty much all the good ones now. Rayman, Wolfenstein 3D, Alien vs. Predator, even the bad ones like Tempest, and Who Taught You How to Fly, and all that good stuff. N64 we got down here. I like N64 because it's so small and so easy to... it doesn't take too much room, which is really nice. I got all the good stuff in there. Majora's Mask, Banjo-Kazooie, Harvest Moon 64, Ogre Battle, all that good stuff. After that, we go up here to the stuff like 3DO, which is a collector's nightmare, because not only are these boxes so big and take up so much space, but they're so easy to mess up. It's very hard to find these in good condition, and they're awful games. Some Sega CD stuff with great stuff like, I mean, how could you go wrong with Crisscross? Make My Video, which of course I have 2 copies of for some particular reason. One of my favorite parts of my collection is Sega Saturn. I don't have a whole ton of Sega Saturn games, but in my opinion, what I have is really good. Like, you have one of the first releases of Panzer Dragoon Saga, the ones that have the original black cases. That's how you know it's a first run and not a second or third run. Mr. Bones, you have even cheap good games like World Series Baseball, Gex. Guardian Heroes is a pretty sought-after one. I don't know if you guys all know that Mega Man X4 had a release on the Sega Saturn, as did the original Resident Evil, which is not nearly as good as the PS1 version. You have stuff like D, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, have some of the old school RPGs by Atlas like Lunacy. I have some of the other random RPGs in here. Then we have PS1. I really focused on PS1 for a long time. I don't have as much as like NES, but I really like the stuff I have. Both the Lunars, Arc the Lad, all the Final Fantasies, Digimon World 1 and 2, Clock Tower 1 and 2, Mega Man Legends 1 and 2. Just, I really, really focused on that stuff. Saga Frontier 1 and 2, all that good stuff. So, won't spend too much time on that. Then, sometimes quantity over quality. Bunch of PS2 stuff here. There is some really good stuff in here, don't get me wrong. Like, there's Futurama, a bunch of random RPGs like Dawn of Mana, you know, Shining Tears, Shining Force, stuff like that. I also have the pretty common games like Grand Theft Autos that are always fun to play. We go over to Xbox, which I have a fair share of. You have Fatal Frame 2, you know, all the Star Wars games, all that kind of stuff. Of course, you have the Brony posters I have over there, which, guys, this is irony. I swear. Everyone who comes in is like, they look at everything, they're like, I love this room, but why do you have the Brony stuff? And even Trevor knows, and he's just trolling right now, that it's just irony. I'm not a Brony. I have it there. I bought those at FYE. When they were going out of business, they were like 15 for $1 or something like that. And I was like, I'll put these up in here. So I'm not a Brony. Honestly, I don't even like Call of Duty that much. And Kingdom Hearts, besides the first 2, I haven't even really played that much, so I don't even know why I have those. Down here you have a couple of good old-fashioned Japanese games. Bunch of boxed Super Famicom stuff, Chrono Trigger, all the Manas, some Shin Megami games. Just really good stuff, all the Final Fantasies. And then down there you have the PS3 stuff. So that is a pretty good idea of what you got going on. As you can tell, my theme in general is obviously video games, but also baseball. I'm a huge baseball fan, so I dedicate some of it to baseball, Braves, such things. To go over a couple of the other stuff up here that I didn't mention much is, you got Custer's Revenge right there with his little butt sticking out. Mega Man 5 in the box. Jeremy Warner traded me that in. I promised him I would never sell it, and I did not. Super Noah's Ark 3D, really rare, hard to find game. Prototype of Nintendo World Championship in 1990. Trevor's personal favorite game on the Super Nintendo, Terranigma. It's a PAL-only release, which you can... I have a Super Famicom that I can play that on. And then over here, you have 2 of my favorite games of all time. Saga Frontier, which I have posted about on Complete Unbox page before. We're going to do a Let's Play of these one of these days, and it's going to be a big undertaking, but we're going to do it. Typing of the Dead, which we already did a Let's Play of, which is just the best game of all time. And then you have the 2 worst games, in my opinion, of all time ever. You have The Ring Terror's Realm, which, yes, is made off of The Ring, the movies. The only difference, instead of a VHS, you get an internet virus. Imagine an action, adventure, horror game where it's so cryptic you have no idea where to go. There's 5 seconds of music the entire game. I am not joking, just repeated over and over again, and it's annoying. The voice acting is... Imagine the worst voice acting you've ever heard and double it. And just like, you have to go to very specific places and talk to very specific people, but you can never figure out what you're doing. It is just awful. I sat there with a fact next to me one day, the entire time, spent 2 hours trying to get through it. I could not do it. And then you have Clock Tower 2, which Clock Tower 1 on PS1 is one of my favorite games. Clock Tower 2 takes everything good about it and just kills it. You die randomly, it's cryptic, there is no story at all, not even bad story. It's just the worst game ever. We might do a Let's Play on that sometime, to everyone's chagrin, just to show you how awful it is. The only way you can ever kill enemies is to bonk them over a head with a fire extinguisher, and that is literally it. So that is a pretty good idea of what we got going on here. I need to point out, of course, the Michael Jordan poster, which, how can you honestly go wrong with a Michael Jordan poster? That's me. I had that since childhood. And then, of course, you have going out, and I will end the video out here, to look upon my kingdom as I'm standing out here thinking, CIB rules, as I look over there towards CIB on my balcony. The end.